Texas Governor Rick Perry responded to a criminal indictment today, calling it politically motivated and saying he stands by his actions, which led to this indictment. Listen.
I exercise this authority to veto funding for an office whose leadership had lost the public's confidence by acting inappropriately and unethically. I wholeheartedly and unequivocally stand behind my veto.
Yesterday, a grand jury indicted the governor on 2 felony counts, one abuse of power and secondly coercion of a public servant. Those charges stem from an incident last year when the governor called on a district attorney to step down after she was charged and pled guilty to drunk driving, but also allegedly threatened to veto money for a program in her district, money that he ultimately did veto. We want to bring in Austin American-Statesman reporter Tony Plahetsky. Tony, you've been following the governor very closely. He was adamant in these comments. He said this is a farce of a prosecution that will be revealed for what it is, saying this is clearly politically motivated, that he did nothing illegal. What is your reaction to what we heard from Governor Perry addressing this very quickly after that indictment came down?
Well, the truth is, I think many of us in the press corps were surprised that the governor not only came out so quickly, but that he answered questions. He answered a number of questions from, more than 24 reporters who were there.
I thought that was interesting as well, and then at the end of it, he also brought it back to the crisis on the border, talking about his focus, on securing the border. Clearly, this is someone who wants to make a run, by most accounts, for the White House in 2016, who's visiting some of those early primary states in the next week, going to New Hampshire, then South Carolina. When you look at the charges that he's facing, though, these are 2 very serious felony charges that could lead to time for him in prison. He's going to have to be booked, get a mugshot, fingerprinted, right?
That is all true. And what we understand from talking to the special prosecutor in this case, Michael McCrum, he's from San Antonio, is that he is currently making arrangements with the governor's defense attorney for the governor to come to the Travis County Jail in downtown Austin sometime in the next several days to do just that, to turn himself in, to be fingerprinted, to be booked, and to have his mugshot taken, just as any criminal suspect, criminal defendant would in any other kind of case.
We are seeing some fellow Republicans coming out very vocally supporting Governor Perry. We're also seeing others like David Axelrod, former top advisor to President Obama, tweeting earlier today, quote, unless he was demonstrably trying to scrap the ethics unit for other than his stated reason, Perry's indictment seems pretty sketchy. What do you make of that? I think a lot of people were surprised to see that and saw that as a big boon for Governor Perry.
Well, Poppy, there is obviously a lot of discussion on both sides of the political aisle about this. I want to say that just a few minutes ago, I hung up with Michael McCrum from the telephone, Michael McCrum, the special prosecutor, and asked him yet again, do you believe that partisan politics are at play here? And he says, absolutely not. That this, he believes, is a criminal offense. It deserved to be heard by a Travis County grand jury. Those grand jurors issued not 1, but 2 criminal indictments yesterday.
And finally, we have to wrap up soon, but what is the sense you're getting from the citizens of Texas, people that you've been talking to in the last 24 hours since this came down?
Well, that's a really interesting question. Here in Travis County, we are something of a sea of blue. Travis County is largely made up of Democrats. Within other parts of Texas, however, it's very red. Republicans, largely dominate politics here in this state. There is obviously a lot of support still for Governor Perry. Many people are getting behind him, encouraging him to continue vehemently fighting these charges, which he said in his press conference today he plans to do. But there are others who believe that the governor did commit a crime and that he should be held responsible.
So what's next in terms of the legal process here?
Well, once the governor surrenders and turns himself in to Travis County authorities, presumably sometime early next week, he will be arraigned, and then there will be a court date set, sometime in the next several weeks. By all accounts, the governor wants to put this case on the fast track. He wants his day in court, and some people think that that could happen even in the next 90 days so that he can get this possibly behind him and then pursue that possible presidential run.
Tony, appreciate the reporting for us throughout the day on this there from Texas. Thank you very much. We appreciate it. And coming up, we're going to return to Ferguson.